Welcome everybody, this is gonna be a case of shuffling and sleeving. The importance of shuffling cannot be stretched enough, especially when the recent events of Pittsburgh where a card actually slipped on the other side to the opponent, and the opponent not paying attention that it was a different sleeve because it was the same Pokemon that he was using, that being Munkidori. He scooped the other person's card in his, and therefore the finalist went into his final with a 59 card deck where it could be prevented, and he got disqualified. That was the ugliest way of missing an invite to the Worlds, and that's borderline illegal but an accident at the same time, where we cannot blame anyone. So how could that be prevented? So there's many ways to shuffle, but obviously when it comes to a tournament level and under pressure and time, it's better to take your time and do the traditional 6 line 10 pile, meaning that you start with a line of 6 cards and you start stacking, meaning that you distribute in 6 ways, where it pretty much, I would say, ensures at least somewhat of a decent shuffle. But the importance of it is that you also, in the meantime, check that you are actually having 10 cards in each pile, and that's all you need. Now that will be literally preventing a disqualification to the finals, which is detrimental to somebody's career at this point and to how they feel about the game. There's obviously way more ways to shuffle, assuming you have ensured that your pile is 60. Of course, counting is the same thing, and having done both counting and shuffling, make sure at least you're not gonna relive the moment. I couldn't imagine being in the person's position. Now, before going into other shuffling mechanics and why they're important, we have to understand that there are 3 different sizes of sleeves, obviously depending on tournament and regulations. But here we can speak on a day-to-day basis as well, where there's the perfect sleeve, where we can see with a Team Rocket's Mewtwo, everything is covered, there is no room. Then we got the deck sleeves. This time I'm using an artisan one, that's what we call them, because they are sleeves that come in the ATBs. Where from the perfect sleeve, this is considered a double sleeve. From a perfect to a deck sleeve. It's a tight fit, not very bulky, protective enough if you go from both sides, 2 ends to seal them, especially knowing that a lot of dust and grime, the more you play, gets in the game and destroys your cards. Now, I'm a bit weird when it comes to my sleeving, and I love my cards, and it's not convenient what I'm about it is not convenient what I'm about to explain to you is the 3rd layer. Some of you never heard it properly. So as you go double sleeving, you might actually go 3rd sleeving, depending on how expensive are the cards you use. So see, a deck sleeve from the perfect. Now we're obviously on the territory of way too bulky, but at least when it comes to Pokemon cards, because they're thinner than One Piece, they're pretty flimsy, I would say. Now with the triple layer, they're pretty robust. They're tight. They become stronger. Although a lot of people are not fancying that, so we'll probably stick to this. And double sleeving, tournament legality wise, is probably single sleeving, which is not happy days, to be honest. Now, if I take the perfect sleeve out, is what I actually do. So I go deck sleeve myself, and since the Pokemon sleeves might be looking nicer than a lot of sleeves out there, and they come in ATBs, which means that you can use them, you have access to them, I'm double sleeve by going outer layer on a deck sleeve, because I know these sleeves, the nice they look, they'll get torn apart in record time. So obviously now we have 3 layers. Now we can discuss the difference between a double sleeved, the thickness, and a normal one. So see, obviously with a smaller deck, single sleeved, you can go from the traditional side to side, where you're trying to create endpoints where it mixes and folds in. same technique, from the same position, you can go back to front, or front to back, and a little bit of the middle. There's a lot of people that still use the traditional, which I love a lot, the Yu-Gi-Oh method from the anime. A lot of people just feel into it. It's not comfortable actually. Now, when it comes to these bulky double sleeves, let's just look at the difference again. It's almost double. It's almost double. This is insane. So that's where it gets challenging to actually shuffle anything, where you start the same technique of the umbrella, but you have endpoints sticking on each other because they are rougher material, and you're trying to literally push the cards in. At least they're robust enough. Going the back to front and the traditional, which is harder, honestly. I don't think I have big enough hands for a part like this. And the technique that nobody likes now. So there's a lot of people that don't care about the cards, to be honest. They don't even run the expensive versions of any card as IRs, illustrations or anything, and they'll go as follow: splitting piles and go in the middle. This is more pokerish, more kind of casino behavior, to be honest, and this is something we don't promote in the Pokemon industry, regardless if there's people opening 1,000 packs and only showing the 5 ones that had the hit. Shame. But anyway, so this is about it, and more ways to go about your deck is literally using as middle finger here to split, and again a waterfall technique. Let's check how stuck are they. So Joltik and Squawkabilly with a Raging Bolt together, not detrimental to have stuck together. Fezandipiti in space, Crispin in space. Tilmask with Joltik, not tragic to have together. Tilmask and Iron Bundle, not tragic to have together. See, even with that much shuffling, we still got 2 Raging Bolts being back to back, and another one being close enough. So sticking to one shuffling method and not shuffling as much as you can. I would suggest 8 times probably of different techniques back to back are sufficient, because once you realize that there is a chance for you to break your hand and lose a game all because things were stuck, or because you were missing a card because somebody else took it by accident, you'll be devastated. And going all the way to regionals or anything serious for yourself as a competition on your early career of Pokemon and running into issues like this, I don't think it's gonna help you stick around in the long term, and this is a long term game for sure.